Welcome back to another of my videos. Now, when I was coming along, I passed some beautiful daffodils. They must have only sprung up in the past couple of days. It's the first time I've been out for a few days. So I thought I'd come out, see what's about, out and about. Yeah, I've said in previous videos that I love the daffodils and the tulips, and I made one of my stories I made of a daffodil. It's called The Singing Daffodil, and it was all about a lonely daffodil in a meadow. He was the only one in a flower meadow, the only daffodil. There was lots of other flowers, but he was the only daffodil. And I drew a lovely daffodil with a lovely face on it and a lovely reminiscence of singing he was doing, or she was doing. Yeah, I've still to complete that story, but basically it's just about a lonely daffodil. Basically, in the long run, in the end, there's a forester who comes along. He's planting, as you would gather, daffodil bulbs, snowdrop bulbs, whatever, tulip bulbs. He's going about the forest, planting them for the rehabilitation and whatever. And he comes across this lonely daffodil. First of all, he hears the singing. He wonders where the singing's coming from. And it brings him to this beautiful, on its own, lonely daffodil. So he gets his hand into the bag full of daffodils, and he plants lots of daffodils round about the lonely daffodil. That's the basic story, but it's a lovely story, you must admit, and I'm going to be making some beautiful animation paintings to go with it, so look out for that soon. Just remember, just when I came along there and I seen the daffodils coming up, so the birds have not got their seed for a couple of days, so I'm basically out feeding them up. Yeah. The burns are all running. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're running. Yeah, down through leafy wood. I think I'll get a bunch of daffodils. Tesco's is selling some, I think, at the moment. They're always pretty cheap, so I might get some for the vases. I just can't wait for these rhododendrons to come out. coming to the forest on most days, Leafy's Wood anyway, and Heathfield, I have observed Mrs. Squirrel Squirrel's actions and movements. And what she does is, each day she comes down the tree, jumps onto Heathfield's fence, runs across the bottom side of Heathfield, then runs along the top of the fence that adjoins the path and the wall leading into the estate, and she jumps onto the wall and into a tree, and off she goes into the estate. So I'm getting to know the movements of each individual animal and birds, which is great when you're an artist. You observe all these actions, you observe all the movements to improve your work, and also getting some good wildlife film as well in the process. As I've said in previous vlogs, I'm going to be making with all the best bits a nice wildlife film once I gather up the best, and maybe make it about an hour long or something. Scotland's wildlife in Leafy's Wood. Yeah, that should be good and enjoyable as well. Mr. Pheasant. Mr. Pheasant has gathering up a whole seed along with the other birds. He's came to have a feast, but this is the pheasant I was telling you about that roosts in the rhododendron bush down below. I'm going to do a painting of this pheasant with a couple other little birds roosting at night time